In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to solo complete the main Easter egg on the Black Ops 4 Zombies map, Voyage of Despair. Now, I would recommend watching this video all the way through before jumping into a game so you'll know what you need to do at what time. You can also check the description for the timings of each step in case you are looking for something in particular. Now, before we start, I would recommend having either the Hammer of Valhalla or the Scepter of Ra as your specialist weapon and Wraithfire as your equipment. Also, the Stiletto Knife on the Strife starting weapon will definitely come in handy too. I'll explain the importance of each item in this setup when they come into play. Now for the first 6 rounds or so, you should only be using your Strife Stiletto to get kills. This will give you more points, which will help you open up the map faster and allow you more box spins. So to start this off, the very first step is to acquire the Sentinel artifact. This can be found on the poop deck, which is located on the opposite end of the map from where you spawn. The easiest way to get there is to just buy your way through the right side of the boat. Once you've reached the artifact, hold X or square to activate it. From there, the artifact will send out 4 altars that must then be activated to spawn Pack-a-Punch. This is the second step, and if you can get it done before or on round 6, you're making good time. You can find a link to my quick guide on how to activate Pack-a-Punch in the description. Also, when you are down in the engine room and cargo hold areas, I would recommend turning these wheels to drain the water. The engine room wheel is located in the boiler room by the fast travel, and the cargo hold wheel can be found right beside the location's Pack-a-Punch altar. Doing this will just make navigating these areas a whole lot easier. After activating Pack-a-Punch, the next step is to find 4 symbols around the map. Now, there are 6 different locations these symbols can be found at, and each one of them has a nearby clock you'll need to take note of if you find a symbol in that area. First, I'll show you all of the possible symbol locations and their clocks, then I'll explain the easiest way to get this step done. Starting from the spawn side of the boat and making your way across, the first symbol location can be found under the stairs when coming into the mailroom, and then its clock is beside the door that leads into the cargo hold. Next, the second location is up in the captain's bridge on the inside of this desk, and its clock can be found on the wall right above the steering wheel. After that, the third location is above this doorway on the upper level of the grand staircase, and its clock is engraved in the wooden carving on the wall in the middle of the staircase. To find the fourth location, look to the left of the first class lounge mystery box, and the symbol can be found on the right side of this wall. Then in the middle of the lounge, there is a fireplace where you can find its clock. The fifth location is on the end of this cabinet in the galley, and its clock can be found on the wall behind that. And the final location is in the third class area, and it can be found behind this mound of luggage when coming down the stairs. Then if you turn around and look at this wall, you will see its clock. Now for each location that these symbols show up in, their clocks will change from the default time of 11:40. The easiest way to get this done is to not actually read the new times as you normally would. Instead, write down the number that the hour hand is pointing to, then the number that the minute hand is pointing to. So it's going to look basically like an ordered pair. After visiting each location, you should now have 4 symbols written down and the ordered pair you got from their clocks. Now make your way back to the captain's bridge and take a look at these dials. Each one is marked and corresponds to one of those symbols. What you have to do is input the last number of each symbol's ordered pair on their respected dials. This can be done by holding X or square in the direction you want to move the hand. Here is a key I made to help you understand this a little better. You can simply check to see what each of your ordered pairs end with, then look at this image to see where you must move the dial's hand to match up with that number. So for example, my air symbol's ordered pair was 9-1. Since I'm only focusing on the last number, I just have to go up to the correctly marked dial and move the hand to the right 1 time, which is where my key has it labeled as 1. This must be done at all 4 dials on the captain's bridge. Once you've adjusted all of the dial's hands accordingly, you must now make your way to where you found the artifact on the poop deck. Here you will notice 2 more dials. Now these are not marked with any symbols, but the dial on the left corresponds to the air symbol and the one on the right corresponds to the earth symbol. Again, you must move the hands of these dials, but this time you are going to be using the first number of their ordered pairs. So as I said, my air symbol's ordered pair was 9-1. This means I am now going to move the hand to the left 3 times so it matches up with where the 9 is labeled on my key. Do the same with the earth symbol dial to the right of you, then make your way down into the engine room. In the middle of the lower level, you will see a set of 4 more dials, but you will only be able to interact with 2 of them. Again, they are not marked, but the bottom left dial corresponds to the fire symbol and the top right dial corresponds to the water symbol. Now these are just like the ones you did on the poop deck, so finish them off by inputting the first number of their symbol's ordered pair. If you would like to view the keys I made for this step, you can find screenshots of them in the description. Once done correctly at all 3 dial locations, you should hear this. Now from here, you won't be able to continue to the next step until about round 9 or 10. While you're waiting, I would recommend you try and get the Kraken and Hellion Salvo out of the box, as well as build and upgrade your shield. You can find the links for those quick guides in the description. So once Catalyst zombies begin to spawn into the map, the next step is to find 4 wall outlets that are each spewing one of their elements. Now there are 6 power outlets you'll have to check. Starting from spawn, the first outlet can be found in this left side bedroom in the staterooms area. The second one is on this wall at the top of the grand staircase. The third location can be found next to the Zeus perk statue in the first class area. The fourth one is on the back of this wall in the dining hall. The fifth outlet is through the zombie spawn on the aft deck. And the final location is in the third class area after taking the stairs down from the poop deck. Once you've taken note of what element is spewing from what outlet, you must now kill that same catalyst zombie next to it. You'll know if you've done this correctly when an orange symbol appears on the floor. You can do this in any order, but you will only be able to do one per round. So if it's at least round 10, you should first focus on activating a wall outlet, then make progress towards getting a free Kraken if you don't already have one. Once you do, I would highly advise you to upgrade it through Pack-a-Punch, as well as give it the water/ice elemental upgrade before the next step. You can find links to my quick guides on how to do everything Kraken related in the description. So once you've killed the correct catalyst zombie at the respected wall outlets, you must now go up to the symbols on the floor and hold X or square to begin their challenges. You can do these challenges right as you activate the symbols, but they must be done in a certain order. The first one you'll have to do is acid, then water, then electric, and finally fire. I usually like to wait until I've done them all, then activate them one after another on the same round. So starting with acid, you'll be teleported to the poop deck where you pretty much just have to kill off waves of all enemies. Of course, since this is the acid challenge, there will be a few more acid zombies than the rest. If you kill one with your Kraken, they will leave behind a part of their bodies that you can pick up. This is how you give the Kraken a certain elemental upgrade. We'll need the acid one in a later step, so it's easiest to just get that part here. There will be a max ammo at the end of the boat if you need one, and after you've killed every enemy in the area, your screen will go white. Then the artifact will lower into the map that you must pick up. Moving on, the water challenge will teleport you to the cargo hold, which will then begin to fill with water. The easiest way to do this is keep your back to the location's fast travel and just spam the oncoming enemies with your Kraken. After all are defeated, the artifact will lower into the map for you to pick up. Next, the electric challenge will teleport you to the boat deck. There will be another max ammo in the area for you to pick up, and this is pretty much the same as the others. Just keep on moving and use your Kraken to kill everything until your screen goes white and you can pick up the artifact. And finally, the fire challenge will teleport you to the boiler room. Now right as you spawn, I would recommend you run up onto this catwalk and hold down both sides of it. You'll be swarmed by zombies, fire zombies, and stokers, but you can easily kill them with your Kraken, Wraith Fires, and specialist weapon if needed. Once done, the artifact will lower into the bottom level of the area that you must pick up. For the next step, you will need the acid elemental Kraken. If you grab that body part I mentioned earlier during the first challenge, you can start this step as soon as possible. You'll now have to go up to the distillation kit and convert your Kraken's ammo for 6,000 points. After that, save at least one zombie at the end of the round and make your way to the Turbine Room. Here there will be 9 blue pipes that are leaking steam. You must shoot these leaks with the acid Kraken so they begin to leak water as well. You can find the first 2 directly above the location's Pack-a-Punch altar, then 2 to your left, 2 more on the same side but in the back of the area, 2 more on the opposite end to your right. Then making your way back to the front, you can find 1 more right up here. The angle for shooting these is a little iffy, but I found some of them you can hit if you aim directly at it, others you'll have to aim a bit higher. You'll know if you've hit one when you get hit markers. After shooting all 9 pipes, the turbine room will begin to flood. If Pack-a-Punch is not in that location, kill off your remaining zombie and it should move there right away. Once it does, simply go up to it and Pack-a-Punch the artifact. It's also probably a good idea to go back to that wheel at the end of the area and drain the water in the engine room. Next, in no particular order, you must activate 9 symbols around the map to spawn a planet in the sky. Starting from spawn, the first symbol can be found right here in the forecastle area. The second one is directly in front of you after coming down these stairs into the mail rooms. The third one is on this wall in the bathroom of the staterooms area. The fourth symbol is on this cabinet in the captain's bridge. The fifth symbol is on this back wall opposite of the dining hall entrance. The sixth one is below this desk in the millionaire suites. The seventh one is in this life preserver on the aft deck. The eighth symbol is on the floor in front of the Odin perk statue in the engine room. And finally, the ninth one is located on this wall below the catwalk in the boiler room. After activating all 9, make your way back to the cargo hold area and drain the water by turning this wheel. Then come up to this model of the solar system and hold X or square. The planets will then begin to light up one after another in a random sequence. This can be kind of tricky because you'll need to pay close attention to the order without getting downed. When you activate this, it will trigger an infinite zombie round. Your specialist weapon, Wraith Fire, and upgraded shield can help you get through this. I would also recommend either recording this sequence in some way or every time a planet lights up, pausing your game to write down the name and color. here is an image I made that you can refer to when having to write these down. The reason I've included the color of each one is because they're easier to spot and remember than the actual planet's name. Once you've written down your sequence, go outside and look up, and you should see all of the planets orbiting the sun. You must now shoot the planets in the order they lit up. Again, here's something I made that can help you spot the planets in the sky. If you would like, you can navigate to this step in the description where I've included a timing for each planet. Simply look for the planet you're currently on, skip to that part in the video, and there I will show you what it looks like in the sky, the best spot to shoot it from, and where it will land. So I'm going to run through the sequence I had in my game. Keep in mind, yours will be different. Also, when you shoot each planet, you've got about 30 seconds or so to go pick up the orb they drop, so you'll have to be quick. You also need to be conscious about the infinite zombies. For some of the planets, they will swarm the orb drop location, for others they will swarm you. So starting off with Neptune, this one actually isn't in the sky. It dips in and out of the water around the boat. When it surfaces, it's not hard to miss. I would recommend you shoot Neptune around the poop deck area, then make your way to this boat on the aft deck to pick up its orb. After that was Jupiter. This is the big brown looking planet with streaks on it. Again, the best place to shoot this one is on the poop deck, then quickly make your way down to the engine room and its orb will be floating above this staircase. Next was Venus. This is the slightly larger planet than Mars and actually has a very similar color. Just be sure to look for the more orange one. In my game, I shot it from the aft deck area, but you could probably shoot it from the boat deck or mid deck area and get there faster. Either way, I was easily able to get to the Millionaire Suites to pick up the orb. Next, I had the moon, which is the literal moon in the sky. You can shoot it from this window in the area just before entering the dining hall, and the orb will drop in the same exact spot. Next was Mercury, which is the small purple planet. If you shoot it from the spawn side of the boat, the orb will land on a cart right in front of the stairs leading down into the mail rooms. After that was Mars. This is the tiny red planet, and I would recommend shooting it from somewhere on the poop deck again because you'll have to run all the way down to the boiler room catwalk to retrieve the orb. Next, I had Saturn. This one is really easy to spot because it's big, yellow, and has rings. In my game, I think it was obscured behind some clouds, so it was kind of hard to spot, but this is what you should be looking for. If you shoot it from spawn, the orb will land on a chair in the bridge area. After that was Uranus, which is the big purple planet. Again, the best place to shoot it from is spawn, then what I like to do is give it some time to drop into the map because this location is a little tricky. The orb will land on a pile of luggage in the stateroom's bathroom, and usually a bunch of zombies and stokers like to pile up right in front of it. And finally, the last one is the sun. Now, no matter what game you play, your sequence will always end with the sun. You can't miss it in the sky, and if you shoot it from somewhere at spawn, its orb will drop on top of this camera in front of the location's fast travel. Now, unlike the other planets, when you hold X or square to pick up this orb, you'll actually be spawned into a sort of time trial. If you take too long to complete it, you'll fail the challenge and you will have to redo it at the start of the next round. You have to be ready to restart this one though. Right when you end the round, the orb will drop back into the map. So for this challenge, what you have to do is quickly make your way to the other end of the boat, but all of the pathways there will be blocked by big chunks of ice. You must shoot the chunks to destroy them so you can get by. It's easiest to take the boat's right side route as if you were going for the artifact again. The ice kraken can be really helpful for this because with every other shot or two, you can shoot the ground behind you to slow any oncoming zombies. This is also where the wraith fires come in handy. If you throw one down before reaching an ice barrier, it'll kill any zombies that walk through it. After destroying the ice barrier that leads up onto the aft deck, a max ammo will spawn, so be sure not to run past it. Then once you get to these two barriers that lead out onto the poop deck, stand in the spots I do in the video and use your hammer to destroy them. This will take them down extremely quick, and you can also kill any zombies that come at you. By the time you get to the barrier on these stairs, your hammer will run out and a Blightfather will spawn. I would recommend you kill the Blightfather as soon as possible, then focus on the barrier. After that, you just have one more at the end of the poop deck. Again, throwing your wraith fires and shooting the ground will help you get through this. After you've destroyed the final barrier, your screen will go white and the boss fight portal will appear on the ground. Now before going into the boss fight, if you don't already have it, you'll want to try and get the Hellion Salvo out of the box. It's not a necessity, but it really is one of the best weapons for this fight. Make sure you've got that upgraded 4 or 5 times, max shield health, all of your perks charged and ready to go, an upgraded Ice Kraken, and the homunculus wouldn't hurt either. Once you think you're all set up, hold X or square over the portal to begin. When you do, you'll be teleported inside an iceberg where you will have to swim up to this tree and give it the artifact. Then after a moment, you'll be teleported to the poop deck where a giant iceberg will emerge from the water and an eye will appear. This is the first stage of the boss fight, and the only thing you have to do here is kill every enemy that spawns. The giant floating eye will be present, but you won't actually be able to damage it. Once everything stops spawning, your screen will go white, and then you've got a couple seconds to grab the max ammo and carpenter at the end of the boat if you haven't already. After that, you'll be teleported to the engine room for stage 2. This one is pretty much the same process where all you have to do is survive until you've killed everything. The giant eye will spawn these ice circles on the floor, but they will not not hurt you. They're apparently supposed to make the zombies harder to kill when they walk over them, but I didn't notice anything too drastic. Again, after you've killed everything, your screen will go white, and then you have a couple seconds to grab the max ammo and carpenter at the entrance to the turbine room. Next, you'll be teleported to the staterooms for stage 3. This is where things get tricky. While you're stuck in this tiny area, you have to survive against enemies while also trying to now damage the boss. What the boss will do is hop between the exits of the area and shoot its beam down the hall. This is the only time you'll actually be able to damage it. What I did was posted myself up at the very opposite end with my back to the wall, then whenever I saw the boss charging up to shoot down a hallway, I would fire my ice kraken at the floor to slow nearby zombies, then just unload into the boss with my Hellion Salvo. Sometimes you may land all 4 shots, other times you might only hit it once. Just be safe and take this one slow, you'll eventually get it. The level 3 Scepter of Ra is really good for these stages where you have to focus on damaging the eye, but as you can see, it is possible without it. Once the eye becomes all red and cracked, it will then explode and your screen will go white. Pick up the max ammo and carpenter down the hall, then you'll be teleported to the promenade starboard deck for stage 4. Now I had to use a clip from a different game for this stage because I forgot to record my last one, so that's why it looks different. But anyway, stage 4 is similar to the previous one where you have to damage the boss when its eye is exposed. You'll get a good sense of where it's going to shoot its beam when those ice circles appear on the ground. Again, if you play it slow and safe, the boss will eventually grow red and then your screen will go white. Grab the max ammo and carpenter at the end of the area and then you'll be teleported back to the poop deck for the final stage. Right when you spawn, quickly make your way up onto this elevated area and wait for your first opportunity to shoot the boss. You can check the floor below you for any zombies that might jump up, but you should get a few good shots into the boss right away like I do in the video. From here, you should focus on the boss and the boss only. You'll probably have to kill any zombies that get in your way, but you need to be ready to fire at the eye when you start to hear this charging sound. When you hear that, you've got a very short time to stun it out of its charge. If you don't, the boss will instant down you. Dying Wish is definitely a lifesaver during this, and if you manage to keep all of your revives, those will help too. It's also probably a good idea to pop an aftertaste at the beginning of this stage because there's a pretty good chance that you'll be going down at least once. I found that whenever the boss was going to fire a normal or charged shot, I would shoot the ground of that elevated area with the Kraken, then slowly make my way down and away from the oncoming zombies as I shot at the eye. I also got the homunculus out of the box before all of this, and I was able to use those so I could do some uninterrupted damage to the boss. Like I said, play it slow, damage the boss while its eye is exposed, and be sure to stun it out of its charge as soon as possible. When the boss eventually explodes, your screen will go white and you will have completed the Easter egg. After a moment, the cutscene will begin to play. Thank you so much for watching this video. This Easter egg for some reason was the most pain out of all of them so far, so I apologize if this guide was not as clear or short as my others. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment them down below and I will be sure to help in any way that I can. Also, don't forget to check out some of the guides and keys I made in the description. Anyway, I wish you luck and I will see you later.